Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Holy Fire Hangout. My name is Will Mitchell. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher from Rochester, New York, and I specialize in Usui Holy Fire Reiki. Today we're going to talk about dependence and freedom. So we'll go through the agenda for tonight is we'll do greetings and introductions. We'll do an overview of Reiki, the Reiki ideals, what is the Holy Fire, the three heavens, and what's the difference between a meditation and a Holy Fire meditation experience. And then we'll talk about dependence and freedom. And then we'll have when we're done with that open discussion, we'll have a Holy Fire meditation experience where hopefully the Holy Fire can shed some light on what is dependence and what is freedom for each of us. And then we can continue the discussion. Did you learn anything new from the Holy Fire? So with that, today we have Caitlin, we have Noha, we have Ray, we have Sabrina, we have Sheldon, Valerie, and Wendy. And we have Maria napping.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So what is Reiki? Reiki is a Japanese relaxation technique that also promotes healing. It's made up of the two Japanese words Rei and Ki, where Rei means divine or universal, and Ki means energy. Reiki means universal life force energy. It's the energy that's all around us. It combines all the life within us. It's in and around us. And normally a practitioner lays the hands on the client and the energy flows from the infinite source through the practitioner to the client. And Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. When Mikao Usui rediscovered Reiki in the 1920s, he gave us the Reiki ideals. He asked us every morning and every evening to put our hands together in prayer and chant these words to our heart and chant these words with our mouths. The secret art of inviting happiness, the miraculous medicine for all diseases. Just for today, do not anger, do not worry, and be filled with gratitude. Devote yourself to your work and be kind to people. When I first learned Reiki, the Reiki ideals were absolutely essential for me to get in, to maintain the proper vibration, to not to give Reiki, but just to change my life and change my own mindset on what's important in the world. And I still to this day say the Reiki ideal several times. So the Holy Fire. The Holy Fire is that burning in your heart. It's your connection to everything. It's your confirmation that you're following your highest bliss. It is your highest bliss. It is all this and much, much more. Holy Fire Reiki is an evolution in Reiki. It's both powerful and gentle, as well as provides purification, healing, empowerment, and guidance. Holy Fire Reiki is noticeably more refined and comes from a higher level of consciousness. It is unlimited. And in Holy Fire Reiki, we teach of the three heavens, where in the first heaven, that's our 3D universe. It's the planet, it's Mother Earth, it's the people in it, it's the air we breathe, the trees, the plants, the animals, it's the stars, it's the planets. In the second heaven, it's everything that's non-physical, dualistic, and ego-based. The third heaven is beyond ego and clear expressions of God's unlimited love, awareness, and power. And it always respects free will. Now, I found that there's a difference between meditation and a holy fire meditation experience. In meditation, I was taught to focus on the mantra and focus on my breathing. And when a stray thought entered my mind, I would simply return my attention back to the mantra and my breathing. With a holy fire meditation experience, it's when one of those stray thoughts come in, and those stray thoughts are like going to the grocery store, what am I going to get? Or when am I going to do my laundry? What am I going to make for dinner? Things like that. With a holy fire meditation experience, if one of those thoughts come in, simply return your attention to the visualization. But if one of those thoughts, if a different thought comes in that's not one of those things, that's the holy fire talking to you. So allow that to happen and allow your mind to continue on that path. Allow the holy fire to take you on a journey. It's basically what it comes down to. So now I'd like to open up to a discussion on dependence and freedom. Anyone can unmute, talk about either topic or both topics or anything at all.
What do you mean by freedom?
Anything. What does it mean to you is the important part.
Oh, I can go to a trillion places, so I'll let somebody else go. So freedom as in free will, freedom as in the ability to do whatever you want, freedom as in just being able to function physically, that's why I said which freedom.
All of them are part of this discussion.
Okay. So I guess what I would say, which freedom, can you have all of them at the same time? And I think you can.
Okay.
I think it's possible to have all of them at the same time. I think there is mental freedom where you allow yourself to not be boggled by everything that comes your way, and where you just are. There's also physical freedom. And I guess that we would have to talk, sickness and that kind of thing. So I think when you align with yourself, with who you are, they all start lining up and you start getting a sense of what true freedom is. And it doesn't come from the outside, it comes from the inside. So that's what I would say freedom is.
So what about dependence then?
I think there's always dependence. I don't know that you can not have that, for which dependence comes experience. So right now we're dependent on this body in order for us to have an experience in the third dimension. Right?
So you think?
So, well, to feel, the senses, that's what gives you the experience, obviously with the mind, having that awareness, but having that experience, you need your senses Otherwise, you don't know you're alive. You need to see, hear, touch, all of those things. And it allows you to see it as a physical experience, though you know you're everywhere. um, but in this now, you read it as being here now. So that's what I'm saying, that, and even at different levels, I would think that there will be other things that you would see it as a dependence. Even it's at a more expanded version of a dependence. Um, so are you completely free? I don't know. I guess I'll let you know that one once I get my footstool next to God. That's my goal.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
So I'll let others speak.
Thank you for your perspective.
Told you it could take you.
Does anyone else like to share?
Yes. Yeah, it just occurred to me now as we're speaking that it depends what you're depending on. So, because yeah, you were just describing how we depend on many things, like from the air we breathe to, you know, physical things sometimes. And the question came to me, do the things, or let's just say, does the thing you depend on that you're focusing on right now, does it feel good and is it good for you? And if you say yes to both of those questions, then it feels a little bit more like freedom, if anyone's following what I'm saying.
I am.
Yeah, so we have choice in what we depend on most of the time. Sometimes we may need to, rearrange things, to depend on something else. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a lesson for me in my personal life as well.
So I'm hearing you say that it can also be a viewpoint. You can view yourself as being dependent upon something, or you can say, you can see it as that you have the freedom to choose that.
Ooh, I like that, Will, because that's exactly where I was going to go with that. That was kind of my first thought is for me, my true idea of freedom is the true freedom of knowing that I can be all that I came to be, free from the experience of needing to create the feeling of being dependent upon another for validation of my own existence, and feeling free from the idea that I need to continue to create a reality in which I'm not free, just in order to experience the idea of being able to express myself without placing my own conditions on my own existence. And the freedom of knowing that I can choose to be aware of the dependence I have on my existence with all creation. So we can choose to be aware or not be aware. We are so free, we can choose that freedom to choose whether or not we want to experience the lack of freedom.
I like that viewpoint.
That was deep.
Very deep freedom. Freedom to me. Oh, you want to finish, Will?
Yes, please go.
Okay. Me or Gray? Because I still have other thoughts. Anyway, for me, freedom is a matter of choice. And as long as you got choice, choose it. Go for it. Why are you waiting for it? Nobody's going to push you. Anyways, for me, coming from the Arabic world, we have so many limitations. But the only freedom we've got is the freedom of mind. Speaking your mind, at least in these hangouts, you can do that. You're liberal to do that. can you believe it, to the extent you cannot even express your thoughts outside? This is too much. I'm embarrassed, you know? This is why I'm hanging out with you guys. This is freedom. At least, you know, you guys, I envy you for what you got. At least you can walk around the block. Can I do that? You know? I've got, you know, weirdos jumping all over. And driving is another thing. I, I think I can drive, but I never tried it. Because if you just crazy, a pain in the ass. Anyways, I can't believe I said that. um, okay, you got independence. You in this world you are really dependent on the driver, anybody that can do my work. Because I cannot do it myself. I'm limited. It's another thing. I feel like I have the urge to do things, but I'm limited. You know, you got limitations all over. I cannot drive the country unless I have a male with me. You know, someone to escort me. Can you believe this? Disgusting.
Let me
Well,
tell you, Noha, if you had full freedom, I think you would have started a revolution a long time ago.
really,
In
you
other
know
words,
something?
I don't see you as being restricted.
I am.
Yeah,
Internally,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, I know,
liberal.
but I
Internally,
mean,
I'm very liberal. But if you go, there were so many girls that came and protested against. They need driving. All the Gulf countries, the Arabian Gulf countries, have drive. They are driving, except us, except Saudi Arabia. This is really a shame. You know? Wow. It's really killing us. But what can you do? We express ourselves, and they damn them. They damned all the girls. They go, you know, get it. I don't think it's that. So, this is my only liberty to say what I've got in mind now.
Thank you, Noha.
So, so, so.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Sure,
I
am
guess.
I? Go ahead.
No, you go, Valerie. You go. Ladies first.
I'm really fine to wait.
So am I.
Okay, Valerie, please go.
Okay. Mine's pretty simple, really, compared to everybody else's. I kind of look at it like dependence to me is like we're dependent on the earth as long as we are here and now in our bodies. We are dependent on our survival depends on the earth. So that's where what dependence means to me. And then freedom to me is more like something in your dreams. That's where I would say I experience freedom the most, and that would be the mental freedom. Freedom to go out exploring space, I guess. That's real freedom. Astrally, just traveling around and checking things out. So actually pretty simple compared to everybody else, but I think it's relevant.
very nice. Me like up, up and away, my beautiful.
Love the mood.
You're in a mood today, aren't you, Sabrina?
So, while I was thinking about what to say, I realized a paradox in this. So, we all have the freedom to feel dependent, but, at the same time, there's no way we can't be free to do what we want. So, like, in a way, we're bound to our freedom, which is a kind of weird concept. Like, there's no way to not be free. And you can choose to feel like you're not free. I don't know. It's just like this weird yin-yang kind of paradox thing going on. Like, the more you think about it, the more it just kind of goes into a big spiral, up or down, depending on which way you do it. But yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if I can go into details because that's just kind of curly Q idea.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
So I was curious. I think it was curious that no one went into dependencies on substance, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, or relationships.
I sort of wanted to touch on that. Like, that was the two questions. Does it feel very good to you, this dependence on, because no matter what, you're dependent on something. Does it feel good to you, and do you feel that it's very good for you as well? And some of those questions, yeah, you have to have yes to both questions to feel any sense of freedom. If you're saying no to one of those things, like, oh, it feels good, but it's not good for me, then, you know, like, it's not, it's sort of destroying my family or something like that, or, yeah, then you don't feel so free. So I think that, yeah, comes.
But don't we all agree on that before we come here? So it depends for which point are you looking at the freedom from. That's why I said we could go to a billion different places with this, because we agree to these restrictions down here when we come from up there from the full freedom. So that's what I'm saying. Where do you go? Where do you look at it from? And even you have even restrictions within the country that you live in, like NOHA, and governments and families and relationships. I mean, it depends. I mean, a child depends on a mother to survive. You know, it can't survive without the mother. So there is that dependency. I mean, and that's really dependency. For it will not survive without that mother and providing for her.
Well, technically, we'll say that parent.
Okay, that parent, yeah. I'm
Well, I
saying
still
mother
think, though,
because she's the one that gives birth, but yeah.
well, you can be dependent, your children can be dependent upon you while still experiencing freedom, the feeling of being able to be free to be who you are, truly, unconditionally. And I think that maybe one of the reasons why we didn't really directly address dependence on a material thing is because I think we all innately understand that if you create, yes, we came here to have a 3D reality, and we all agreed to do that. However, we also understood that we're limitless beings, and we came here to remember that we're limitless beings and that we still have the choice of feeling free or dependent. So I think if you can get at the core issue or the core idea of that we truly are as free as we choose to create ourselves to be and feel, then all of those things sort of not take a back seat, but they take a different perspective, because if you understand that if you're vibrating at your true core, you automatically won't need those things.
But wouldn't you also say that freedom is relative?
It's only relative to your, it's really only relative to your creation that in this particular example of this perspective, that would be really just relative to, yes, your belief of your own ability, your own creative ability, I think.
And your own beliefs and what you think it's freedom. Because what I might consider to be freedom, somebody else might not.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody could look at being a multimillionaire and looking at that as being free, and then the multimillionaire is going to say, I beg to differ, but I'm a slave to my money. So exactly. Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. It's completely a matter of perspective. But I think what I was getting at, it's really a matter of your joy. And if you're floating around in your joy, and in that respect, if you're feeling free to be unconditionally loving yourself, then I think that is the key to true freedom, because then you realize, even though you agree to be dependent upon parents and the planet and so forth, that truly you're still here, you still are here to be free.
I'd like to add when he was talking about the drug thing. I mean, you have freedom of choice from the beginning of something like that too. You know, you can choose whether or not you want to smoke to begin with. Or like me, I mean, after my back surgeries and stuff, I could choose whether or not I wanted to be addicted to a pain medicine. I mean, that was an option. And the doctor did explain that, yeah, you're going to get addicted to this, but we'll wean you back off of it, and then we'll get you back on, you know. And it was just going to be a merry-go-round like that. So I chose not to do that, but that was my choice, you see. That's what I'm saying, is that with an open mind, I think most people make that choice whether or not to drink if they're an alcoholic as well. It can be a hard choice. No one said that that's an easy thing, but it is a choice that comes from within. And that's also coming from someone who's an ex-smoker too. You know, I had to want to not smoke. It was a choice that I started in high school, and it was a choice that I quit. So I think it goes about your freedom of choice, whether or not you become dependent a lot of times.
And you know, you brought up a really good point, because when you're dependent upon something like that, you kind of feel powerless, and you feel as if you don't have a choice. And once you understand that you really are more powerful than that thing, that really it is a choice, and that it really becomes almost liberating. It becomes so free in of itself, because you realize I am so filled with loving myself in this choice that I don't need to make that part of my life.
Or you've seen damage done. I mean, for me,
Yes,
that
of
was
course.
what
Absolutely.
made up my choice. I had seen damage done already by things like that, and I definitely didn't want to get caught up in the middle of that destructive pattern.
Well, again,
So
though,
for me, that was a conscious choice not to do that, you know.
Well, don't lose sight of the fact, though, that you still created that, you co-created that reality for yourself so that you could do that. That's all I meant.
Choose.
You know.
Yeah, maybe that's, you know, that was part of it too. Yeah, is to
Right.
choose whether or not I want to go that deeply into that experience.
Well, because sure, that's why we would create that reality, so that we could come out of it, like, so that you could say these words today, so that we can come out of it and say, yeah, I did that so I could show myself I could do that.
Yes. I think that's freedom of choice, and then the freedom when you're done. Because if you've made the right choice, then for you feel that freedom of, this is great, I made the right choice.
Can I add something regarding the part about the drug part? Okay, I think people get dependent on cigarettes and drugs and other items, or other, they go into sex or something. That's because they want to have a sense of freedom, which is an illusion actually. And of course they're jeopardizing themselves, they're harming themselves. They don't know it. Or they know and they just don't give a damn, because they're there and they are in that deep shit. I suppose. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I think actually they think that by doing all those other things that they will gain some control over their life.
Yeah.
That's the perception sometimes, that and or run away from whatever it is that's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's people who, you know, maybe they have too many children and can't deal with it, so they can go to the bar all night, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, my mother did, seriously. So there are those. She quit drinking when her kids were grown. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I can, yeah. I can see that.
But then there's the woman that sits at home too, that doesn't go to the bar and just drinks wine. But it's a choice, you know.
Right.
Again, it is a choice if you want to do that. So yeah, it comes down to your freedom still, you know, to choose that or not to choose that. The only thing I can say is that as far as health conditions go, be in charge of your own health, and don't let a doctor talk you into getting addicted to something. If you know it's not going to be good for your body, it's not going to be good for your brain either.
Or like other young children, like adults, like my nephews, they go wild because they're teenagers, and they go crazy, and they answer their parents, shout at them, and they say, "Hey, I don't give a damn. I don't care what you say. I'm grown up by now. So leave me alone. And that's what they think that's their freedom, you know. Attitude.
It's definitely hard to be an adult when you have teenage children because they can poke at you in ways that you didn't think anybody could. But that's the challenge right there, is to remain the adult and stay calm. Meditation can definitely help through that.
Yeah, that's why I did it while they were small.
Did what? Did what exactly?
I did that self-examination while they were
All
small,
right.
because
Okay.
I said, okay, either they're in control or I'm in control, and right now they're controlling me. So every night I would sit and it's like, okay, how could I have done this differently? How could I have done this differently? So that's what that's what I did. I would do,
Really?
and my son crying and screaming. It's like, okay, I could do this differently. I can do this differently. Wasn't always easy, but yeah. So I learned to free myself from having to react to when they cried. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, for everybody. What, when is it a dependence, and when is it freedom of choice? And if somebody externally looks at the situation, like if it's somebody smoking, when is it a dependence on that person? When does the person view it as a dependence instead of, I have the freedom to smoke, so I'm choosing to smoke?
I can say this from experience because I started smoking in high school, but I quit cold turkey after years and years of smoking for sure. And I was about 27, I think. And for me, it was just that I didn't like the way I felt anymore. I didn't like that heaviness of my chest. I didn't like that I couldn't keep up with people hiking, running, things like that. And generally, I just didn't feel well. So for me, it was a pretty easy choice, but it wasn't easy to do. I kept a cigarette in my house for many, many, many years, probably 10 years at least, that I had on top of a picture frame just in case. I never touched it, but it was there just in case. So, I mean, I don't even know when my dependence ended because it was strange that I kept it there even. But it must have been a subconscious thing that, I knew I had it if I had to have it. So I didn't panic about it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I let it go, and I think that was the choice too. And felt much
Also,
better for it.
yes. Also, in the Arabic world, there's a trend nowadays that the shisha, the hubby bubbly, you know, and they have different flavors. Which grape is a good one. I used to. In Arabic, we say we drink. We don't say we smoke. We say we drink. Okay. So I was gonna say in English, I was drinking. Anyways, I was smoking the shisha, and then it was. I'm getting hooked into it. Okay. So, and then I start feeling, because I'm doing Reiki, so I start feeling dizzy now. This is not me, you know? So I go, oh, it tastes good, but the dizziness, it doesn't suit my Reiki. This is not me. I'm going out of my skin. So I still like it, you know? So I don't smoke much. So I don't have it at home. I'm prohibited from my mom. So I do it when I go to my brother's place once in a while, not every day, not whenever I wish, like, you know. You know, it's quite heavy. It's been said that one shisha is about 20 packets of cigarettes. Can you believe it? Which is too much.
Wow.
Because they put charcoal on top of it. You know, charcoal on top of it, two square cubes on top of it, which is hot. You know, so can you believe it? What does it do to your lungs? So I got to control myself. Okay, once in a while, I feel like the taste of the grape, which is really is good. So okay, but really when I go there, I feel dizzy still. I don't feel myself. See? But you get the control and say, no, I can't. I won't get hooked into it. This is the trigger point, I think. If you go forget it, I can't stop. course. Yeah, I'm not hooked as I used to. Yeah. So this is, it's a matter of choice, and you have to take it when you trigger it, actually.
Yeah.
I couldn't always say that cigarettes were a choice for me. I mean, while I was smoking them. Sometimes they made me feel sick and I was still smoking them. So I think when you get addicted to it, that's something that you do even if you don't like it. You still do it. And I think I've talked to people that have been into really heavily drugs, and that's what they say too. Even when they didn't like it, and they knew they didn't want it, they still did it.
Valerie, would you say that still you should have the freedom to smoke if you want to?
Well, I think everyone should have the freedom to do whatever they want to do to their own body because that's their body.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I'm totally against smoking.
I hate smoking.
And since I was a child, I used to take my aunt's cigarettes and throw them in the garbage. And then I moved on to the toilet because she could take them from there. But I also think that you should have the freedom to do what you want to do with your body. So
yeah, so I think most people figure it out. You know, if they don't, it's because they don't pay attention to their body and how it feels.
Yeah, because I think sometimes, and then it goes into freedom, we're so busy policing. Sorry, I'm eating pomegranate. Policing each other. You know, policing each other. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. That not only you're restricting them, you're restricting yourself. Busily policing everybody else instead of living your own life.
Well, yeah, and I do think that there are a lot of different substances, if used in moderation, can help with opening your mind to things you maybe wouldn't think of or experience without that. But again, I think it's moderation in everything.
And that's why I said, you know, I think when you're connected, you know what is good for you or what you feel is not good for you. Because I don't think, you know, everything is good for everybody.
Well, I don't think so either. But if I ever had the chance to do ayahuasca, I would jump on that train in a second. Just because I would love to experience that mind opening.
Oh, I could not. I go on my own ride, so I'm good. You go ahead and let me know.
I think it would be a very fun experience, but not necessarily fun, but eye opening, like I said, you know, brain opening. But I mean, I've done the mushrooms before, and that really didn't take me to that place at all. It just morphed things around me, but it didn't open up my mind to other things like I thought it was going to. So, but I've only done that one. Yeah.
What's that thing that you were talking about? Opens your mind. What is it like?
You mean ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Well, I can only go by what's been told to me by a really good friend of mine that is in Costa Rica, and she's actually suffering from liver problems and is trying to undergo certain treatments to help her heal. And so she is seeing a shaman and doing it the right way. And I know there's a lot of different touristy traps for this, but if I was going to do it, I would do that same thing and go through a shaman, and that you know they obviously know what they're doing and have been doing it many, many years.
Is it illegal in the United States?
I believe so, yes.
That's sad.
You would definitely have to go to Peru or somewhere like that. But it's a liquid made from plants and tree bark, and it's made by the shamans, and you drink it, and you're probably going to throw up. And that's the worst part of it. But then the shamans are there, and they have their things, the chants and things like that, that help you to open up your mind to different things. And for her, she was able to see Mother Gaia and talk to Gaia, and for her it was extremely interesting and eye-opening. And so that makes me think it would be a really great thing to try, but not like every day or anything. Like she said,
Right.
it's not something you take lightly. It's not just a recreational thing. It's something that's to advance your consciousness, and that's
So,
what I would be like.
so you were talking about cigarettes and how it was killing, not killing, harming. Well, my grandma smoked herself to death from it. That's why I've never tried it.
Well, you're smart. I
And
didn't
I
have
never
anybody
drink,
in my life to warn me like that.
and I never drink or do any drugs either.
I think that's
Well,
a
that's
positive side to being a dependent person, like having like showing those like super dependent things because like sure you're going through suffering, but then others see it and they're like, okay, that's not a road I want to go down that road. So they, move their energy to other places and do other things that, their soul wants to do. So I think, it's not a bad thing to be really dependent on things because you're a teacher. And that's my view.
One thing too, Will, that I wanted to mention just to touch on about dependence is something that even unconditionally loving as we are as parents are with their children, and I'm a mom, so I understand, what it's like to be a mom. And I have found though that I didn't want to exclude the power of animals and pets in our lives because, you know, it, it's interesting after even raising two children and they're men now, but I found a different type of because your pet is always going to be dependent upon you. It's a little bit different than your children, whereas you're sort of preparing them in their lives, of course, to be not dependent on you, and yet your pets will always be dependent upon you for their survival. And so the only reason I really brought that up is because I mean we all understand the true unconditional love of pets and animals with each other, but the reason I really wanted to point that out is because it is a different my canine companion taught me something completely different about unconditional love that even being a mom didn't teach me. It's just different because they're completely dependent upon you. And so there is that it's a delicate balance, and it's a delicate co-creation, just like it is with us and the planet, quite frankly, which we kind of take for granted in some ways, but so it was just there's something very special about that kind of unconditional love, and that but because it's based on a type of dependence in some way, and but yet it's the opposite of unhealthy. It's been one of the most healthy relationships I actually have ever had.
I think that would be a dependency on love.
So yeah, that's kind of good then. Yeah, I like that.
Aren't we all?
Exactly. We're all dependent on love because we're all made of it and we all know we're made of it. We just have to be reminded.
Right? And we all know Cal loves dogs.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Awesome. Excellent discussion. Are we ready to meditate?
Yes.
Awesome. Totally cool. I'm going to get a drink of water. I suggest everyone else get a little
Yes.
bit of water.
Be right back.
I loved the conversation. I loved it so much I kept my mouth shut. So I thank you all for participating. Let me know when you get back, Sabrina. awesomeness. I love the way that we talked about many, 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 many different aspects of freedom and dependence. Welcome, Michelle. And how we talked about interesting perspectives and how love fit in. That was absolutely amazing. Yes. Michelle, you came just in time to meditate.
Perfect. We could ask Michelle what she thinks while we're waiting.
Yes, we can.
If Michelle knew what you were talking about, that might be helpful.
We're talking about dependence and freedom.
Ooh. Well, I don't know what direction you guys were talking about that in, so I will remain quiet because I could take that 1,000 different ways.
So maybe we'll save
We
that
did.
then for afterwards.
Okay.
We did take it in 1,000 different directions, yes. But so now we'll ask the Holy Fire for guidance on dependence and freedom and what it thinks for each of us. Hopefully it'll be different and unique for each one of us. So everyone get comfortable. And hopefully everyone's hydrated. Get comfortable. Shrug your shoulders a little bit to get more comfortable. Let go of the stress of the day. Taking a big deep breath. And exhale. Breathing in, relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Breathing in, relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Let's take a moment to invite in Mother Earth. So let's start in our heart centers, reach through our root chakras, through the soles of our feet, down into Mother Earth, just like you're growing roots. Wrap those roots around the core of Mother Earth and bring back up the spirit of Gaia through your feet, through your root chakra, and to your heart center. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Now let's invite in energies from the third heaven. Again, let's start with our heart center, reaching up through our crown chakra, up into the third heaven, and bring those energies back down through our crown chakra, back into our heart center, and mix those energies with the spirit of Gaia, both the divine feminine and divine masculine. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Breathing and relaxing. And on your next exhale, push out. Combination of energies into every aspect of your being, and everywhere, and every when. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Imagine yourself in a meadow. It's at twilight. Not quite daytime, not quite nighttime. As you look up, you see a star that is different than the rest of the stars. It is glimmering and shimmering. This is a light from the third heaven. Allow this energy to enter your soul. Allow this energy to take you on a journey. when you're ready. If you feel compelled to continue your experience, please do so. For the others, slowly bring your attention back to your fingers and toes, to your arms, your legs, to your breathing, and slowly bring your attention to your eyes in the here and now. When you're ready, take out your journal, start writing about your experience, whether it's a notebook where you're writing with pen and paper or you're typing it online, whatever it is. If anyone wishes to unmute and share, please do so.
Yeah, something to tell you. It was beautiful. Got into my heart. Okay, I got into my heart, and then after about freedom and independence that I'm teaching. Notice said, it will happen in the right time. I said it did. And I just sang with it. Let it be, let it be. And I felt that child in my heart. I don't know. It was beautiful sensation. But it felt like a dialogue is going on. So I don't know. I hope it's a dialogue. It's a channeling thing. Maybe this is the first thing. Okay. Oh, am I here? No, nobody heard me.
No, you're a little soft.
It's a headphone thing. I didn't put the headphone on. A headphone plug. So you heard the. Shall I see what I said? Oh, you got it.
Why don't you start over, please?
I got into my heart and I asked it, when will the freedom be? So I felt the dialogue is going on, and it said, it will be on the right time. So let it be. And I just sang with it, let it be, let it be. And I had a big smile on my face and I was cheerful. It's just very limited fast. I don't know. I felt I channeled my heart. I don't know. I hope it's right. Or the holy fire, you can say.
If you felt that, then you did.
Beautiful. It's the first step because it's limited, you know?
Yes. You can choose to doubt or you can choose to not doubt.
No, it's a dialogue, you know, it's real, you know?
Right.
So like a knowing, an innate knowing.
That's correct.
So
You have an
this
innate
is,
knowing. Yes.
I hope so. It was beautiful. Thank you, Will.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thanks for sharing.
Awesomeness. Love it.
Awesomeness, exactly. And the universe just got more awesome.
Love it.
Yes, Noha, that was beautiful. And I agree with you that you definitely were talking to your heart. And it's very similar to the download I was receiving in that the holy fire is the source of the light that fuels our hearts. That is what we're feeling is the holy fire within our heart because that is the eternal flame that we're all burning from. And there was a lot more to the download I got. And I mean, there's pages, but that's kind of the gist of it is exactly what you said, is that you could feel your heart talking to your heart.
Amen to that. Thank you, Wendy.
Well, I got the flying thing again, and this time I felt like I was a bird and flying through like a flame, and the sky was purple, and I just feel like that my heart has healed, and this is my reawakening and my start over, and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Anyone else?
Well, I have to thank you once again, Will, because you are a wonderful source of material for me. I get a lot of automatic writings after your holy fires, I got to tell you. Well, every single one I've ever attended totally got stuff.
Nice.
Lots of stuff written down, so it happens every time. For whatever that means, it happens every time.
Totally cool. Let her rip. Anyone else?
Yeah, I didn't have any visions of anything. I was sitting with, I was thinking about the dependence and freedom. And for a long time, I've understood that um, it's a paradox. Trusting God is the freedom. It's kind of like I can't explain it, but it offers me when I put my faith into a higher power, source, whatever you want to call it, um, that life flows more smoothly. Not unlike electricity. Like I can't define it, I can't tell you all about it, the mechanisms. I just know that when I walk in a room, I don't have to, light a candle and fumble around. I just turn on a switch. I don't have to understand it for it to make my life easier. And I have a dependence on that I don't understand. This week has just been odd for me, uncomfortable, I should say, because I didn't maybe catch it in time, but I had a series of events that just kind of like brought my old thinking patterns back, kind of under the surface, and realizing, you know, that I had fear when it's not necessary for me to have fear. I have plenty of experience to back that up. I have plenty of proof in my own life and in my own situations that is unnecessary, and yet that is what I was feeling. But I really feel like that was just calling me to remember that I need to love all of it, and that things are uncomfortable, but it is in leaning toward the fear, i.e. not having a dependence on a higher power and or my intuition, that I begin to lack the freedom, I lack the joy, I lack the things that I get when I'm fully trusting the universe to support me, as opposed to fearing circumstances, which I know very well I can manifest and create my own outcome. So for me, I spent a lot of time just really affirming that which I know to be true in my heart, which is that I am loved and that I am capable and that I am, and I am, and I am, and I am, all these things. So that's how it ended up for me. And that's what I needed. So that's it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And I like how you ended it. And that's what I needed. It's the way it works. That's the holy fire right there. Would anyone else like to share? Sabrina, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, sort of here. Not
Yeah,
quite.
I noticed. I noticed that you weren't quite there. So I sent Reiki to help bring you back. I felt you wanted to, but we're having trouble.
Yeah.
Well, if you're still having experience, please do so. The holy fire has you.
I think they're done.
Do you care to share?
So, two angels came and took me to the angelic realm, and we kept going and going and going. And I thought that was the experience. That was definitely freedom. But then they brought me in front of all the archangels. And then I saw Archangel Raphael and Metatron and Gabriel and Michael and Uriel and Saint Thomas, which I found odd. Uh, so then they said a few words to me, which I'll keep to myself. And then they each gave me a gift and touched me on my head, and they gave me a book also. They are big. They are really, really tall. And I thank God, and I don't know if there was supposed to be more, but my phone rang and it sort of brought me back. But I think that's why I'm still kind of not here.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So I thought it was interesting that you saw St. Thomas. And I believe you're talking about St. Thomas the Apostle?
Yeah.
Doubting Thomas.
No.
Did you get anything about doubting? Because according to the Bible, he was the one that doubted so much that he said he wasn't going to believe that Jesus died and was resurrected
Yeah,
until
I
he
know.
stuck his hand in his side.
Yes.
And then when Jesus rose, he did go to St. Thomas and says, "Stick your hand in my side and doubt no more."
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was odd that he was there, but I just accepted it. Um, uh, Maybe it's my sign, don't doubt anymore.
Very interesting. There's a lot
Yeah.
of information about St. Thomas the Apostle that resonates with me. So I have some homework to do on this.
Oh, okay, now I'm shaking.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I think I just need to ground.
Does anyone else wish to share? Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Ray, would you like to share?
I'm still kind of sleeping.
Enjoy your sleep. Marlo, did you get a chance to meditate?
Actually, I just woke up. I didn't.
Oh,
I missed.
congrats.
I missed the whole thing.
Well, we're talking about dependence and freedom.
Yeah, it beeped on my phone, and by the time I got up, it beeped 3 or 4 times. By the time I got up, it was all over.
Nice.
But I had a great nap.
That's good. Apparently, that's what you needed.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jasmine.
Hello.
So I'll share what I experienced. So the light filled me up, and then my body was engulfed with flames, with the holy fire. It was really interesting to see my whole body engulfed in flames. You know, I held out my hand like this, and I looked at my arm, and I'm going, whoa, really cool. And then I started walking around, and I realized that I could walk through anything. So I'm walking through a rock on the hillside, and I'm choosing to either interact with the rock, and therefore it's solid, or not interact with the rock, and therefore I can walk right through it. And when I walked into the hillside, I was walking on a path in the hillside. You know, so I was choosing which level of the ground to actually interact with and which spots to not interact with. So I was actually making my own pathway, and it wasn't necessarily that a pathway was revealed for me. So then I found myself at my sister's house in San Francisco. I just visited her last week after the retreat, and they were at the dinner table, and my niece Lily noticed me. I went and I sat at one of the empty chairs, and Lily noticed me sitting there, so you know, with my flames all ablaze. And she said hi, and she told everyone else that she saw Uncle Will, and no one else saw me. And my other niece, Sydney, was there, but she was looking around for me. And even though Lily says, he's sitting over there in that chair. And so I whispered Sydney's name, and I said, you can hear me if you choose to. And I said, Sydney. And she finally heard it and said, hi, Uncle Will. She still didn't see me, but she heard it. So I gave her a kiss, and then I went over to Lily and gave her a hug and a kiss. And, you know, she pretty much levitated at the table because I grabbed her. That was pretty interesting. She hugged me back, and my sister didn't know that I was there, except that, you know, her daughter said so. And so I went behind her and I gave her a kiss on the cheek. And then I stood back, and my flames turned violet. And then I was taken to Mount Shasta, to the highest parking lot, and I gave gratitude for the successful retreat. And then I found myself floating up to the very tippy top of Mount Shasta. And then I started floating down inside, further and further and further deep down. And I finally went to the source of the water of the springs on Mount Shasta. And I gave thanks to the water. And I was there for a little while. And then I was shown what next week's topic is. So next week's topic is we're going to talk about soul contracts and how to either negate them or fulfill them, whichever one you want to talk about, or ignore them, or be balanced, or experience harmony, because that's, to me, that's all the same thing. And I received a final blessing for today. So it was pretty interesting for me. How you feeling now, Michelle?
First, I'd like to thank you. I don't know. I'm just sitting, I feel like I'm sitting with heavy old ideas that need to meditate through, I suppose.
Okay, so let's do a 1 minute meditation here. Then, for anyone who's watching on YouTube or in the Hangout or watching on YouTube tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, if you believe you have something that needs to be released, allow the Holy Fire to come in and release it. It no longer serves you. So I pray to the Holy Fire that anyone who chooses, who wishes to release anything that no longer serves them, to please come in and just take it right away. I ask you to allow the Holy Fire to do this. The Holy Fire can do this easily, naturally, effortlessly, instantaneously. Give thanks to the Holy Fire for its service of release. Deepest, sincerest thanks. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
I'd like to just add, Michelle, it's very, very brave of you to recognize that these patterns are there. No, not everyone would see that. So give yourself credit for that.
Absolutely.
If credit made it feel more comfortable, that would seem like a great idea. I do. I mean, I'm very aware of who I am, and I can see these old ideas pop up. They're really uncomfortable. It's a interesting thing when you like get into the flow of really trusting the universe, the really trusting all of these teachings I've been exposed to, really trusting that, you know, we create our own reality, and then you just kind of get, I don't know, lessonaries, as Alma Talk likes to call them, and they're just kind of boom, 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 and then suddenly I am feeling old patterns arise, like, oh, we thought we worked through these, but no, here's your mirror. There's more. There's more love. There's more forgiveness. There's more work to do. So it's just uncomfortable, but it's I'm just super grateful that I have you guys to help me with this. And actually, that last thing we did really gave me a lot of relief. Thank you, Will.
You're welcome. No, I felt things being taken away from me, so I appreciate you recognizing recognition that you're experiencing old patterns is step one. Acknowledging it, recognizing it, labeling it, saying, you're old and I don't want you anymore. That's step one of releasing it. And step two is just say, all right, I've acknowledged you and you can go anytime. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Would anyone else like to share, or do we want to continue the topic of dependence and freedom? Did anyone learn anything new?
I can say that I might have been a little bit dependent on the way I felt before, or maybe a lot dependent on the way I felt before. And I just feel like that weight is gone. And for me, that dependence on feeling that weight is gone. So that is freedom.
Awesome. That was perfect. I love that.
I learned something. I learned something that I shouldn't be over eager for anything. Just accept it and let it be, and it'll come right on time. So just be cool for it. See, everything will happen at the right time.
Got it.
Totally agree, Noha.
Yes, I'm excited for it too.
Now,
Maybe
Will, now.
what,
Isn't that
maybe you
true?
guys can help me clarify what my experience has to do with freedom and dependency. It took me a while to have an experience until like just a few minutes ago. I was just like, I just got really sleepy and it was just, I didn't want to move. My child was like playing with me and I'm just like half asleep. And I just like stare out the window. It's a nice sunny day. And on top of the shed next door, there's like a big triangle roof shed just out my window. A bird sat on it and I'm just staring at this bird. Just mindlessly staring at it. And as I'm staring at it, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of felt like it didn't feel real. Kind of like I just, I don't know, like I don't feel anything. And I was like, I feel like kind of stagnant inside, kind of, I'll leave it at stagnant. And I asked the bird, I'm like, hey bird, do you think you can take this stagnant feeling away? And it said, no, but I can show you what it's like where I am. And then I started feeling what that bird feels like out there sitting on the roof. Just a normal bird, very common one. And I just suddenly felt his energy and vigor just just sitting there, just I don't know. Like even though I don't know, it just felt so natural. It's just part of the sunshine out there. The sun and the air is pretty much, even though like he does live in a little bit of like what do they call it, survival instinct is there. He doesn't feel that way. He he's supported by the universe, by the sun and the air and things that are happening around, and it's just this energy. And I don't know what this has to do with this hangout, but that was my little experience, and it made me cry. I was just very thankful to feel that. 'Cause I was feeling something completely opposite like a moment ago. I was just very thankful, and a tear rolled down.
I'm finding the fascination of the synchronicities that everything that everyone has shared has almost been word for word everything that I wrote while the whole thing was going on, and I'm reading it going, really? This is pretty funny.
We're all connected.
Because one of the things that it said is to experience the freedom to exist beyond the boundaries of the belief of limitation. So you took yourself beyond the belief of limitation.
Yay!
Mommy,
Yay!
what's that sound?
That's me. Hi. Can you say hi?
Thank you, Wendy. Say hi to Will. Hi, Will.
Hi.
He waved.
You got exactly what you needed, Ray.
That's
Doesn't
right.
You don't have to apply it to whatever the topic is. Maybe it
Yeah.
does apply, maybe it doesn't apply. It doesn't matter. You got exactly what you needed.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for that to happen as well. Awesome.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Awesome. So why don't we do a final blessing and go off air? And after I do my final blessing, anybody else can choose to unmute and give a blessing in any language you choose. So I would like to ask everyone to send positive energy to anyone experiencing a dependence on anything that they don't wish to, but they feel like they are dependent. If they feel trapped or they can't find a way out or whatever it is, I'm sending Reiki and love and positive energy. I ask everyone to do the same. Hopefully this will give you the strength to break free if that's exactly what you choose to do. If you don't see it as a dependency, then neither do I. I honor your freedom of choice. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will. I have to go back and watch this now.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Will.
Would anyone else like to do a blessing?
Okay. Toro tika 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 da do do tika 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 da do 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 tika 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 da do do da dee da 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 do da la da dee tika tika dee dee do do da dee dee da dee da da tika tika do 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 do. Blessings to all.
Namaste.
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 Namaste. Toka
Namaste.
Yokuana Diokuskuana Kyokua. Yokunosutu Onua Katia Sayokua Tana. Tesio Kontukua Kalioko Sontuaka. Eyiono Suku Tunua Kyoku. Arionos Kurua Katalio Sontukua Tata. Teiono Soyuati. Io aratati onosukuata. Tasayu okonoruata tio soto. Oyani kariotos kuatati. Oyani okwa noskoruata na atu. Soyu anari ikioto tuana sayu. Okuana aka akatu. Na yua sanuakata. Teskayu onuakati. Eionorua tatanuakata. Skoa tanio soto. Eionoso. Osuata. Naskayu oruata tatuata.
Namaste.
Namaste. Nashina nakwa la kasaya katomaya la kosoya. Nikala soyo kurakaba la kakina natuaka. Nishila kasoya malawa kashokura kapurakisa. Nikala soyura malakiturahasa. Nikala rapaya waliasi hakitorokoso. Zilitiatora kashamaliatoru kuleapliatoha. Nikleatoha parumamilia soya. Makura hasina asatiko shura hasatu. Hikilia saha. Natolua kayomala. Sikia shoruha. Sinia tikayura. Nikashaya kubu suyukusumala. Niyala koya katekina maruha. Nimaruha. Tukusuyu wala katriako shukurapilia kakina matuha. Kilia soyu maka. Inayura situha. Inayura. Shiayura yala kusutulukuapa. Nikayatuma. Litasa nayila. Nikaisasha. Sokupura katuyuhura. Nimaka. Sina maluraka saha. Ni talakatuyu kusha. Makaliatulu kwa payamakatu. Iliasa. Inakaha. Iliananoku kusha. Pikato yakuma. Ilia natu. Lananinka kusho. Mitayaloa. Mishakura hasuyusu. Sina tatu washu. Mitiala. Mahashoha. Mahalanatu. Mahala. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. We'll go off air now. Thank you for attending the Holy Fire Hangout, where we discussed dependence and freedom. My name is Will Mitchell. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher from Rochester, New York, and I specialize in the Sui Holy Fire Reiki. Subscribe if you like what you see, what you've heard, what you've experienced. You can check me out on YouTube, Google+, Facebook, or ReikiWithWill.com. Thanks for joining. See you next time. Namaste.
Namaste, Will.
Many thanks. Well appreciated.